as I'm recording this, a phenomenon has taken off in the pop culture world. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are rumored to be dating, and this has taken over the internet. I'm sure you've seen all of the memes and all of the stories. If you haven't, it probably means you're taking a break from social media right now because it's everywhere. So, why am I bringing this up on an AI driven marketing podcast? Well, the reason is because it has financial, cultural, and business implications that might surprise you and that you could use as inspiration in your own business. So, today I'm going to be talking about the power of collaborations, the power of partnerships, and how you can leverage them to grow your business. So Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are everywhere right now. As I'm recording this, it is the week before Halloween, and I fully expect there to be a plethora of variations of costumes featuring the two of them on Halloween night. I was even tempted to do it myself, but I don't have the right hair or the right height to be Taylor Swift. But all joking aside, some of what is happening behind the scenes might be surprising to you. So I want to read an article to you about the business growth that has taken place from just them showing up together. As Swift makes appearances at Kansas City Chief games and rumors swirl that the pop star is dating the tight end, a marketing gold mine has sprung up. This is from Vox magazine. The buzz is inescapable, whether you're a Swift fan, an NFL fan, or both or neither. Kelce's jersey sales have spiked, as has the number of his Instagram followers. And game viewership has jumped as Swift fans tune in just to catch a glimpse of her, even if they don't care about football. And NFL games are already the most watched programs on TV anyway. The social media chatter is endless, and the media coverage is breathless. Everybody has weighed in, even Donald Trump, and really trying to just wish them the best. And it leaves you wondering, is this even real? But Taylor Swift is great. I would even say an expert at translating attention and loyalty into money. The NFL is great at turning attention and loyalty into money, and their combined forces, well, you get the point. It is a cultural phenomenon as we are seeing so many more people watching the games, the football games. Taylor has also swooped in to cash in. The NBC's audience for the game peaked at 29 million viewers, including an increase of about 2 million female viewers. And the interest is tremendous. So across the board, we're seeing attention to Kelce, more attention to Taylor Swift. She's already a huge phenomenon, taking off. And it's really incredible to see how just two brands that already are attention gathering on their own come together, and there's this full force multiplier effect that takes place. So how do we take this large scale example and translate it into the world of business? As AI frees up so many of our clients and their teams to do other things, one of the most important and most common questions that I get is, what do I do with my team? My team spends hours a day following up with clients and booking them into appointments. And if they're not going to do that anymore, what do I have them do? And that is something that I hear often. And my response is always have them work on the things that AI can't. Have them focus on the activities that AI can't do, such as the human connections, such as the collaborations, and such as the partnership building, similar to what we're seeing with Swift and Kelce. And you might be saying, Laura, I have a local business or I have a small business. I'm not going to have that kind of access to star power. Yes, but you can do it in your own little ecosystem. You can do it in your microeconomy that is local to your business. And this is one of the best ways that you and your team can spend your time, because when you choose the right partner and when you collaborate with that right business, or if you are a growing brand and you hook on to another growing brand and together you grow, amazing things will happen. I saw this myself firsthand when I was a brick and mortar business owner. I was a photography studio owner, and I ended up developing a really nice relationship with another invitation specialist. And she made handmade invitations, a brilliant artist and businesswoman. And at the time, we both had relatively small businesses. But as we continued to refer each other, and we just got along really well, we clicked. She ended up bringing her son to me for photography. I photographed him as a toddler. He's now like in college. And we just got along really well, liked each other, stayed in touch, collaborated, and referred. And I referred her and she referred me. And over time, we both had multi-million dollar businesses. So sometimes you can get a sense of somebody's quality early on and you're like, this is amazing. And this person, I can just tell, is going to grow into being a superstar. And what I want you to do is look and keep an eye out. Look at the relationships and the connections that you're making from that vantage point. Because again, that friend now is still an invitation specialist. She has an amazing business in the Philadelphia area called Two Paper Dolls. And I've watched her success skyrocket to where she was the invitation specialist for the White House. She did invitations for major celebrities. Like, she has grown into being a international phenomenon here in the Philadelphia area. And we made that connection very early on. And sometimes, again, you just get this sense this is going to be somebody who has incredible talent. They're a great business owner. They're a great entrepreneur. They own a like-minded business. And I really want to make a connection with them so that we can grow our businesses together. So one of the things that I often say when people are asking me, Laura, how do you know how to do this? Is I often say, when I was building my multi-million dollar brick and mortar, I didn't have Facebook ads. Zuckerberg was still probably hanging out in Harvard trying to figure out what he was going to do with his life. So when I'm thinking about, okay, how do I approach this from a standpoint of quickly growing a business, it comes from that experience. And when we think about, okay, Facebook ads and paid advertising and even organic social media has become an increasingly noisy way to advertise, I'm such a big believer in establishing these partnerships. So you might be thinking, now that I'm giving you some examples from my own life and from the internet sensation of Kelce and Swift, you might be thinking, okay, I've got my wheels turning. I'm getting some ideas here, but where do I start? Or there might even be some businesses or business owners that are coming into your mind right now as I'm providing these examples. So the first step is just to make that initial contact. And what you don't want to do is make it very cold or impersonal. What you want to do is make it very personal, and if you can, use a mutual connection. So I remember way back when, 20 years ago, when I was first reaching out to that invitation specialist, it's because we had a shared customer. And that made it really easy for me to reach out to her, where I said, hey, I saw the invitations that you did for the Smith wedding. It was amazing. I would love to get to know you a little bit better. How's coffee sound to you? And listen, we're all busy business owners, and you might need to follow up a few times, but looking for that common ground, looking for that common connection, even if you own a similar business or you have a similar clientele. But the best connections from my perspective have come from having shared clients. Oh, I heard that my client goes to you for fitness and then they come to me for stretching or wellness or sauna or any other type of body care, right? And so that's a great compliment, and it's a really nice way, again, to make that two-way connection. And what you're often looking for is alignment in culture and values. And from my perspective, and I talk about this pretty extensively in my book, Win-Win, culture and values are the most important characteristics to look for in a partner, because other things can be worked out. And what I found is that culture and values were always the most important characteristic in a partnership alignment. Oftentimes, I might have found a partner, or as I've been consulting for some of the bigger national brands in the health, wellness, and beauty space, a lot of times a very obvious partner isn't always the best referrer because there isn't that connection, that personal connection, and culture and values alignment. So, for example, I've worked with lash extension companies, franchises that are national brands, and you would think automatically that bridal providers would be a perfect complement to lash extensions, and vice versa. Somebody might be going for lash extensions, get engaged, and then need wedding services. So, it's a fantastic exchange and a great way of thinking about when partnerships really align with one another. But at the same time, sometimes they didn't go well because there wasn't that culture and values alignment. And it's much more important for you to be aligned with other business owners that have a good reputation, that care about your clients in the same way that you do, that you both have a passion for relationships or serving local business, serving local community or community building. Those types of values are critical because you don't want to get entangled with maybe somebody else that doesn't have great values around how they treat their clients. And at the same time, you want to be aligned with businesses that have those similar values. So I always look for that values match in as much as I look for those obvious partnerships. And then complementary services or products. I gave you a couple examples here, but think about who else provides services when your services begin or end. So this is a great way of thinking about it. When my services end, where does somebody else pick up? Or when their services end, where do I pick up? So again, thinking about fitness and then body wellness. When somebody is really committed to working out and taking care of their body and getting uncomfortable and, really stretching themselves in terms of their fitness and maybe lifting those extra weights or running that extra mile, often they need wellness recovery. Well, wellness recovery is a great complement. And then when people are in wellness recovery, they might be looking for a new workout, or their workouts maybe have plateaued, or maybe they need to try a different kind of workout. Maybe they've been doing high impact and now they need to go to low impact. So really thinking about the lifespan of how people use the services that you offer and who else has services where yours end or begin. That is a fantastic way to think about who could be a complement to your offer. And a lot of businesses struggle with being creative in this way. And so I would just really talk to as many customers as you can. Again, when AI is taking over the booking and a lot of the behind the scenes work, what we recommend is that the teams that are part of the businesses that we serve is that they get freed up now to talk to customers, get to know them. Where else are they shopping? Where else are they are going for services? And then use that mutual connection to establish that introduction. And the big thing here is that you're not driving straight to a pitch. You're just getting to know the business, getting to know the business owner, and seeing what their goals are so that you can provide a proposal for a potential collaboration. And then the second step is building a relationship and brainstorming. And this is really important to start out from a place of the goal of establishing rapport. Your goal in step 2 should not be set up a partnership. Your goal in step 2 should be establishing a rapport. So once you've figured out who would be a complement, both from a values standpoint as well as a complementary service, and you've figured out that contact point and made that introduction, your next goal is always to establish credibility and trust. And really getting to know what were some of their past partnerships. What has gone well or not gone well? What do they like to see in a partner? What would they consider to be successful? Maybe they've already established a partnership that they consider to be wildly successful, and you can just copy what they've done with that other company because that's the way that they like to do business, or that's the way that they found that it was most successful in driving customers to one another, and replicate that. But more than anything, you're coming in from a place of curiosity and you're looking to establish the relationship. And a lot of times when people go right to the partnership or they go right to the pitch, first of all, you might pitch something that they're like, we would never do that, and this is why. Or we've tried that and it doesn't work, and this is why. And now you're kind of in this defensive place when really you completely miss the opportunity to build a relationship and build a connection. And then what you want to do is move into collaborative ideation, where you're collaborating together and you're creating ideas together without really having any expectation on what it looks like. And what happens is you can start getting really creative that way. A lot of times when I've helped the brands that I've worked with in the past, I've consulted to in the past, um, some very obscure ideas that sort of started out just ambiguous, like not really knowing where they were going to become monetized, where it was very vague in the initial stages, ended up being this fabulous idea because you could collaborate together and they could say, you know what could really work for my clients? Because they know their business better than anyone. And you're still getting to know their client base, you know your own. So it has to be a two-way exchange. It can't be just like, hey, can I put cards out at your location? And I can tell you that that almost never works. You come in with a fishbowl, here's some cards, can I put them out? And they'll say yes, because they're like, sure, I guess, because it was never that collaborative energy that brought together that partnership. The person that was bringing in the fishbowl was probably like, all right, I'm just here to check a box. And the person on the receiving end of that initial contact felt that way. And it never turns out well. Usually what happens is you might get a couple people in the fishbowl when you go to pick it up in a few weeks, and it's 10 new leads and they don't convert very well. Whereas when you have somebody at the front desk who's like, hey, so I heard you saying blah, blah, blah. We just started a partnership with that particular brand, and I think that you would really like them. I try that. I go there. I get my lashes done there, or I go there for stretching, or I go there for fitness, and I love it. I highly recommend that you try it out. Would you like a voucher for a complimentary first class? When that's the conversation, your business will explode. Trust me on this, because I've seen it go both ways. And what you need is an advocate in the business, whether it's front desk or the owner, that's letting the customer know how great your business is. And when that's missing, what happens is that partnerships often fall flat. And then finally, what you want to do is have check-ins every month. And this is where I see a lot of business owners making some of the biggest mistakes in collaborations, is they assume, okay, the collaboration's done. We had one conversation. I decided to refer you this way. You decided to refer me that way. And now I get to move on and establish a new relationship. As you know, relationships don't work that way. Relationships are ongoing. They require touches. They require updates and connections. Again, I talk a lot about this in my book, Win-Win, and I even provide a relationship marketing tracker that if you get the book, there's a link in there for you to be able to get your own tracking system. But if you're listening here and you're just like, all right, Laura, just give me the idea. The idea is to have some kind of pipeline set up, whether it's in your CRM, whether it's in a spreadsheet, whether it's in Asana or Trello or any type of project management system that you use, where you're continually being reminded, hey, 2-week touch base, 30-day touch base with that partner, where you message them on the platform where they seem to be the most hanging out the most often, whether it's social media, Facebook, Instagram, texting, whatever it is, email, and say, hey, I just want to reach out. I hope you're doing really well. And often I find that social media is a great place to do this, like their personal Instagram or LinkedIn, where you're like, hey, I saw on Instagram that, your kid won first place at the local art show. That's so cool. I hope you're doing well. Those types of connections and those types of comments and outreaches, from my perspective, always get the best response versus an email that says, how is our partnership going? That often gets unresponded to. So keeping up with people, and in Instagram, you can tag somebody or identify somebody as one of your close friends. So you can just go down a list of people on that channel and pop in and just say hello every now and then. And as an owner or as a general manager, that's one of the best things that you can do, because staying top of mind for the people that you're doing business with is so critical. Once a relationship is established, we think, oh my gosh, they're going to remember us forever. But they don't. They don't remember you forever. And a really funny example of this is 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was pretty sick. You can almost hear it in my voice. I couldn't record a podcast for a couple weeks. And if you're watching it on video, you're going to see me kind of clearing my throat and recovering a little bit from that. And listen, it's the time of year, right? But I was not feeling well at all. And my husband was like, why don't you go to the IV clinic that you went to last time that you were sick? Listen, my friend owns this clinic. I love this place. And I completely forgot that that was something that I like to do when I'm sick. Thank God my husband reminded me, and I, made an appointment right away and went into the IV clinic, and I felt so much better in 48 hours. But this again, when you're busy and you're stressed and you're trying to make things work because you're sick and you need to get your kids to school and you still need to make client appointments, or you need to reschedule things that you forgot that you had, it's really easy to forget about services that you like. And this happens all the time in business partnerships and collaborations as well. They're worried about the own day-to-day of their business, employees calling out sick, employees going on vacation, mini client emergencies, studio or salon emergencies, just like you are. And you have to stay top of mind for them to continue to refer you. And then also asking them to track, like if there's a way in which they can input into their system the referral source. And so when you refer them and when they refer you, maybe you have coffee once a quarter and you're like, hey, so these are the referrals that came in from you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I want to make sure this is working for you as well. Do you have the ability to pull that report? I know we've sent some people your way, and I just want to make sure that they're getting to you in the way that I intended or the way that I hoped. Having that conversation with them is so important to keeping the relationship going, because if you've made all the effort of doing step one, which is establishing contact and getting that introduction, and then you've moved into step two, which is the relationship building component, and then you've moved into step three, which is the review and the analysis and and ongoing, and you drop the ball in step three, it makes steps 1 and 2 totally a waste of time, right? And I don't want that for you. So that's why it's really important to continue to maintain the relationships and then also check in on results. This is the number one way that I grew my own local business and that I've helped other businesses explode growth as well. AI-driven marketing does help alleviate so much team time to free you up for these types of activities. And it's important that you leverage it in that way, that you move from having all of this back-end work overwhelming your team to freeing them up for partnership and relationship building. And what happens is that when you prioritize this, your paid traffic works better because it becomes part of an ecosystem of marketing that people hear of you from their local salon when they're getting their hair done. And then they go to a Facebook ad and see you. And then they go to Instagram and see you. And it creates this explosive growth that is hard to pinpoint to one thing. But ultimately, it often comes back to the word of mouth in your community. And the word of mouth comes from these types of relationships. So it's kind of like this invisible hand in the background that starts growing your business, again, making your paid traffic work better, making all of your marketing work better, because when they see those ads or they see that marketing, it's not the first time they've heard of you. And so I really want to encourage you to explore the partnerships and opportunities that I talked about in this podcast. Really think about how you can implement it in your own business, and then come back and let me know how it goes. And if you're wondering, okay, Laura, how do I free up my team time so that I can have more capacity for building relationships? You're going to want to check out my short free training, which is how to get more sales with AI. And it's specifically for local wellness, beauty business owners who are really forward thinking and want to consider how AI can help their business run more efficiently and profitably. So you can go to getmoresaleswithai.com. That's getmoresaleswithai.com. And if you're listening to this podcast and you know somebody who would really enjoy hearing this message, go ahead and send it their way, leave a review, or find me on social media and say hello. I'd love to hear from you.